see you, baby. Get your shine on. Get your glow up.
Welcome to Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. Yes, we are back in the building. I said back in the building. What up, girl? Yes. So, Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. We took a hiatus. We needed to get some things together on a personal and professional level. And we are back in the building. And as you all see, who's on the side of me is no other than my fruit of my womb, my daughter. Well, yeah, beautiful. Hey, girl.
Evelyn.
We are back in the building, Side Streets and Intersections on IntellectualRadio.com. And just as a reminder, if you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here at IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. We back, girl. We back.
Girl, we back. What?
They couldn't hold us down. We back in the building, girl.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. How long it's been? Do you know how long it's been, Wanda? It's been over a year. A year and a half.
That's a
yes.
while.
Yes.
And that was the year before. Right. So that was a while.
So we've been off the air for a year and a half. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Sanson. We are back in the
y'all can see my fingers. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
Actually, they can see your entire
everything. That's not
they can actually see.
That's not
they
the thing.
Yeah. Well, we back though.
That's not the thing.
We back though. Now don't be hitting the mic and all that. Don't do that.
Sometimes
so we back in the building, y'all.
It's real.
We are back in the building. We are so excited to be back on air. As a reminder, hey Sharice, how you doing? As a reminder, once again, if you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here at IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. And we have a plethora of subject matter to cover.
All kinds of subjects, ideas, current situations.
So let's speaking,
honey,
with this. What is going on? What are we doing? What is going on with this mass shooting?
Okay, so
first, before we get started, we want to say to each and every family member who has lost someone through this
everyone
tragic
who's been
event,
affected with this situation, of course.
Everyone. Mm-hmm. Additionally, each and every person that has to have been subjected to some form of violence here in the city of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Our hearts go out with you. This is just becoming, and pardon my vulgarity, but this is a damn shame. Like, this is just ridiculous.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, if you're not aware, there have been 2 mass shootings within the last 24 hours. And those both happened within
24 hours,
13 hours of each other. So you have one individual shooting up in El Paso, Texas. Then you have another person shooting up in Ohio.
A Walmart.
Then you have the Walmart shooting, but that was a little bit different. I'm going to explain to you a little bit later why. Okay. So first of all, I want to know, with the election coming up, midterms, all that wonderful stuff, people are talking back and forth about who they're going to vote for. And we got 45 people trying to run for president in the Democratic Party to try to defeat Donald Trump. Look, y'all can defeat him. It's easy, but we're not going to get it this way by being divisive, okay? The division is what's making these people who are crazy and unhinged, irate, and feeling like they're empowered to go out and shoot people up and like, hey, you know what? It's right because I got that direction from my president. Well, forgive me if I'm wrong, but yeah.
And so I think that it's one of those things where, hey, Patton, how you doing? It's one of those things where I don't even, for the most part, even watch television because it's just very depressing. And however,
TV is not depressing. The news, the local news is depressing.
Well, okay, so the local news is depressing.
They give you bad
television. And television is full of everybody's angry. Everybody wants to be a Atlanta housewife or the woman of Orange County. What is this madness? Why are women so damn angry?
Okay, so are we talking about women or are we talking about the shootings? Which one are we going to get into? Because we got
a lot to talk about. I'm excited to be back on air, right?
It's definitely
Sidestreets Intersections here on
Intellectual Radio.com.
We back in the building. They couldn't hold us down, even though we went through adversity. Failed businesses, failed relationships, and we'll get on the subject matter of relationships.
Lord. That's a series. It's gonna last for months.
But we are here back in the building. Yes, one thing about it, they say weapons will form where they will not prosper. And sometimes you got to crawl before you can walk. And even if you get knocked down, the thing is to get back up. So we back in the building on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. here at IntellectualRadio.com. And once again, if you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here at IntellectualRadio.com, you can call 708-223-8953. That was a bit corny, right?
You're missing a number, though. There was another number.
I said 708-223-8953.
No, you said 893, but it's okay. It's all right.
Whatever side.
So it's 8953 for those of y'all who missed it. Now
getting back on a serious note.
On a serious note. Now, like I said, which one do you want to get into? Because we can.
So let's talk about just a little bit about the mass shootings.
We're talking about the national.
Well, let's talk about the mass shootings. Let's talk about the mass shootings.
There. So I have feelings. Okay, so first of all, I'm not an identity politics person. I feel how I feel and I vote how I vote, and it's not going to be loyalty to any particular party. It's not loyalty to anything because I think this is for Black people. This is for this and that. This is for this and that. It's for who I going to vote for because I feel like they're going to help me out and what I have going on for my particular life. Okay.
That sounds intelligent.
It is intelligent. I would like to think so. I hope I am. But seriously, so just my personal experience. My boyfriend is a Republican. Staunchly Republican.
Yeah, I know about that. Yeah, he is a Republican. I mean, I can tell by it.
He's a lot of things, but he's most definitely a Republican.
Yeah, okay? Yeah. Sometimes tell by those shoes he wears that makes him Republican.
Not the shoes.
Yeah, the shoes, girl.
I don't know if
it was just a dead giveaway. The shoes was a dead giveaway.
Okay. But no, so he's a Black male for those of you who may be, like, oh, no, he's a Black guy. He's a military veteran. He is staunchly a Donald Trump supporter for the things that he's doing for the economy.
How does that?
And anything that happens, because I'm not.
Oh, but how does that? Oh, that's got to. You know what?
What?
I'm your mother, and
my mom.
Yeah, I am your mother, right?
You look cute today.
Girl. All right, because we back in the building, girl. But anyway, on a serious note, respective to the shootings. Okay. I think that it's awful. And we are always talking about Black versus white. No life is better than another life. Okay. However, we must make understand the difference when it comes to people that commit these mass shootings. It's interesting that 26 people lost their lives, another 9, another 13, whatever the numbers are. You just get tired of counting.
It's bad because it's come to the point where it's a normal thing. You don't want this to happen. You don't necessarily wake up every day like, oh, this is going to happen. But when it happens, you're like, oh, well, it happened again,
Absolutely.
And the point is now to try to figure out, as an individual, a part of society, and a person, part of whatever group you're a part of, a voter, it's try to figure out who is going to help you get to the place that you want to as an individual, as a citizen of this country, to help you get to a place where you feel like, you know what, they're going to do something about the situation. Because
but let me interject for that. And you say that they're going to, when you say they, who are you speaking of? The politicians and lawmakers? So I have an opinion about that. Because we know that lawmakers are moved by the lobbyists. Okay. Wherever there's a strong military presence is where the law and where the dollar bill counts.
The dollar bill
So
is where the military goes.
Right.
What is in our interest as a company? It should be country, but we have a real estate mogul.
Yeah.
Quote, quote. Running our country at this point. So he is a business person, not a politician, and he's been thrust into politics. So we have a business person running our country as a company, as an entity, which is made to produce revenue. Okay, so that's how it's been run at this point. All right. A lot of people were inspired, and Donald Trump was the
catalyst,
a big, what's the word? A big
influencer
in the financial community.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be Black society, a lot of, rappers, all those things, people like, oh yeah, I want to be like Donald Trump. I want to do this. Donald Trump. Not really, not to say that everyone's ignorant, but a lot of people are like, hey, he's got this big name. He's famous. He has a lot of gorgeous women, and he ain't cute. He ain't all that. We all know that. But for him to have what he has, it's something. There's a mystique. There's an attraction. There's something that people want to, have, that he has and he understands and he gets.
So what? Okay, so we understand all that, but getting back to these mass shootings, what is the solution, or is there a solution?
Well, first of all, the solution, it comes about with people actually understanding the problem itself. The problem, and of course, I am not some economic or sociological, that's not a word, but I am not an expert in any of these fields, right?
But you do a lot of reading.
My personal opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, college, all the good stuff, wonderful. But my personal opinion is you have to figure out why these things are happening, identify who the people are who are committing these particular crimes. Because people like to, we as individuals, or, my group of friends and my group of associates, we recognize this as domestic terrorism. Okay.
I would agree.
A lot of people have an idea that terrorism only comes from someone that's outside the country who wants to harm the country.
Absolutely.
And the citizens inside the country.
Absolutely.
But terrorism in itself is the ideation that someone is not happy with a particular group, place of people, and they want to do something drastic, dramatic, fatal. Because history teaches you that you don't really get results on a historic major scale unless you do an act of violence.
That is deep.
Nothing's ever changed without war.
Hold on for a second. You just said something that was very profound, and it is unfortunate that I want you to repeat that again, because that was so prolific, and I want you to say that again. Hey, Desmond, how you doing?
Hey, Desmond. Hey, I don't know you, but hey now, ow. But
So
on a major scale throughout history, nothing really ever changes unless there has been some sort of violence, war, bloodshed, or extremely drastic. It's either finance or body count that makes things change on a legal or on
a political arena and or financial.
On a major wide scale level, as far as country, nationalism, all those wonderful things, right?
Okay.
People have a tendency to get in these groups. They want to march and scream in the streets, but that does not affect anything. Okay, you can yell and scream all day long up and down Martin Luther King Drive, up and down Stony Island, up and down Michigan Avenue, but that's what you're doing. You're yelling and screaming. The only way that people will affect and make change happen is if you do something drastic enough to where people can feel it. If it doesn't affect their finances, who cares? Okay, I understand you crying, you're mad, you all this kind of stuff, but I'm gonna still go and spend my money and do what I want and live how I want to live.
I think that, let me just interject, because I think that what you said, you touched on something. I don't think a lot of people are honest enough to say, like you just stated, and you stated that change will not take effect until someone feels it.
That's exactly,
i.e., i.e., by something drastic happening.
Of course.
So, once again, we have heard about all of these mass shootings, and I'm sure by tomorrow morning we will get the count of all the violence that has taken place in the city of Chicago.
Yeah,
we have to stop. We have to stop talking about, oh, we need to pray more and we need to. No. Stop supporting. Stop supporting.
Not actions.
Stop supporting your bad kids.
Oh, okay. Get real with it.
Yeah, we're gonna get real. Stop supporting your bad kids. You know your kid's bad. Now, the one thing is, you know, when they took, and I'm gonna say this, to each his own.
Okay.
However, when the lawmakers came in and said you can't discipline your children, but we can discipline them later and how we want to, that is an absurdity to me. Now, I'm not suggesting.
Wait.
So let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not I'm not recommending.
Go ahead.
That anyone beats their children, because I am an advocate. I'm an advocate.
Don't beat the children.
I'm an advocate. And also, I make sure that through my licensing as a substitute teacher, that I have a right that if I see violence going on, that to an extreme level, that I am to report it. However, just the other day,
okay, what happened?
I was walking down the street.
Okay.
And these 4 little bad young men.
Were they like teens, children?
Preteens, just the mouths were repulsive. And then when you say something to them, they mamas.
Their mothers were with them?
They mamas.
Were with them?
No, they weren't with them.
Okay, okay.
Will be the ones talking about, oh, my little son, he was good. No, he wasn't. He was terrorizing the whole neighborhood. He was ripping and robbing and everything else. That's not an assumption.
You're making an assumption.
Why is that an assumption?
Because their mothers weren't with them. You cannot, first of all, you don't know any individual's background because you met them based on a one-off circumstance or situation.
However, first impression can be a lasting impression.
They are lasting. However, these are children. Children are not aware. Okay.
You're not aware of
children
simple wrong and right.
Children.
We have to stop making excuses.
That's why you didn't learn things until you were your age as you are now. I didn't learn things until I was my age. Okay.
To some degree. However, basic etiquettes and basic knowing simple right from wrong. We gotta stop giving excuses, because excellence and excuse don't belong in the same sentence.
It's not an excuse, but it's just the fact that these people, these children, or these boys, these bad boys, as you say,
and girls,
whatever, they may not have been taught. Their parents may not have been taught. There's an epidemic, because we done got way far from politics and mass shootings. I wanted to go there, but we're gonna go here. We can go here. It's fine. They may not have been taught, the proper social etiquette. Okay. When people are in a disparaged group, you have people who don't even look beyond their neighborhoods. They've never been outside of their neighborhoods. They don't know. They think that what they see on TV, Love and Hip Hops and, Throwbacks, Jersey Shore, things that they think that is the highlight of life. They don't know anything because they've never been shown anything. You can expect these individuals to show their kids these things. So it's a lack of self-respect. Mm-hmm. It's a lack of respect for yourself and your community and people who look like you or people who are in your same age group, range, economic status.
So what about the children? Respect. What about the children whose parents did raise them properly and they still made ill decisions?
People make bad decisions all the time. I don't understand what that has to do with
it. It has to do with, once again, we have to stop making excuses for this wayward behavior. And I think having had 18 plus years of observing wayward behavior, criminal behavior
in the county, yeah. Okay.
Being a substitute teacher for the state of Illinois.
Okay. I've never done that. So tell me about that.
In my current role, I'm always observing behavior. Okay. And it's interesting that
Lord, I got this makeup stain on my shirt.
Even when you tell adults, you can cue them and you can say, don't do A, B, C, or D. And sure enough, you're going to get that one or two adult that's still going to do what you didn't tell them.
Well,
so my whole thing is with that.
Okay.
So my whole thing with that is, if we have to constantly remind adults, we also have an obligation to remind children and stop giving them passes for their bad behavior.
I'm not. Who are you referring to as giving these children? I'm sorry.
Well, passes? I'm speaking in general. For example,
I need an idea.
So, I'm gonna give you an idea. So check this out.
Okay.
So a lot of times in the public school systems, and shout goes out to all those who work for the Chicago public school systems, all my teachers.
CPS,
I'm a product of a CPS.
I'm not, but it's okay.
However, that being said, however, that being said, the society is pretty much set up that you're pushing paperwork. You can't even teach because you're pushing paperwork. You're pushing kids through the system. For example, i.e., the kids have gym, physical education, but they're sitting in a gym room all day doing what they want to do, and then they come back and tell you that you need to give them an A, but they didn't do anything. And then when you try to teach them, you become ostracized by the very society that says, oh, teach our children. They're to learn. They're to do this.
I mean, I don't necessarily, I need a background on what you're saying because it doesn't really connect with me.
So
what is the situation that you're referring to?
So
we're moving along.
Yeah, we're moving along. Hold fast. Okay. I got this. All right.
Get it, girl.
So what I'm saying is, from my experience of being a substitute teacher, it was more about passing students along than teaching them.
Now, see, you're the substitute. So as a substitute, and I'm not in education in any sense of the word, but just my idea, just my logical process for me is you're a substitute. You're not the actual educator for that particular subject, that class, or whatever it may be. So you have to go along with whatever it is that they have been taught or whatever the system is that they're into. I
beg to differ.
Well, you can differ all you want to, but that's what I believe. At the end of the day, you're not my teacher. You're not employed to make the standard. There's a standard that has been set by the actual teacher of this course, of this class.
Okay, so I get all that.
So as a substitute, you're supposed to go ahead and substitute whatever it is that they would have put here today in their absence. This is not a time for your new frontier ideology. It's not. It's a time.
I like the way you said that. Ooh.
Ideology. But no, it's not. It's not. It's not a time for you to come in and make it yours, because it's not yours. You're substituting for something that's already there, that has a foundation, and you build up on that foundation that is there.
Okay, but I have a problem with what you're saying, and here's why.
Why is that?
You're saying that as a substitute that I should not be, because in essence, what you just said, that I should not be granted the same respect as the normal teacher.
No,
that's in essence what you said, because you just said
respect. It's about you respecting the teacher and respecting your role.
Okay, no. So the
role is not.
So when I am in that role,
overshadow or cloud the teacher or the institution at hand.
When I'm in that role, whether I am a substitute or not, I am responsible for that classroom.
That's true.
In the event
that is true,
I can't say if the kids start fighting, oh, I was a substitute. That don't concern me.
Well,
talk to the regular teacher.
That you're being obtuse in that type. But
I'm just saying.
No, that's obtuse. That's not.
Perhaps it is.
That's not reality, and that's not.
No, actually, it is reality, because a lot of educators take that position. They take that position that they're simply there just to get a paycheck because why? My opinion doesn't matter. So I'm just going to sit here for these 8 hours or how many hours I need to sit here, and I'm going to get a paycheck at the end of the day or the end of the week, whatever it is, whether I'm substituting or whether I'm bouncing from school to school. Because you know what? I don't have to be bothered with them kids tomorrow. I'll go to a new school.
I mean, that's true, but are you speaking of substitutes or actual teachers?
Well, I'm speaking of the educational realm from personal experience and from observation. So moving right along.
Well, no.
Give me 1 second on that side note.
Okay.
We're going to go to a commercial break, you guys. This is Angela Champ, Erica Champ, Ava Lynn, back in the building. Sidestreets Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. We back in the building, y'all. What's up?
.com. Feed your brain.
All right,
Come on. Yeah. I see you, baby. Get your shine on. Get your glow up. One time. For the babies on the south side, the east side, the west side, the north side, Chi-town.
IntellectualRadio.com. Feed your brain. Feed me now.
Come on.
Welcome back to IntellectualRadio.com. This is Angela Champ for Side Streets and Intersections here on the IntellectualRadio.com, along with my wonderful sidekick, my daughter, Ava Lynn. We are back in the building. We have been gone for a year and a half, but we are back in the building full of ideas. And so, forgive us. No, we're not offering any apologies. We're talking about any and everything that we want to think about today. The one thing about our shows is we don't necessarily do structure because I think that so often, stay within the lines. The lines are your friends. But life has taught me that when I have tried to stay in the lines, they were not my friends. So we are just talking about a plethora of different subject matters, and we're going to eventually reel it into one topic. But we are so glad that you are tuning in here, Chris. Ms. Harris, thank you for tuning in, and each and every one of you out there that has tuned in on this evening, as we know that there are a lot of things that you could be doing. Hey, Desmond. And so we are so excited to be back in the building because that year and a half brought about a lot of changes.
Most definitely.
So do you want to talk about some of the changes that you've experienced? And I'll talk about some of the...
Okay. Yeah. So I believe when the show first started, I had just gotten back from living in Atlanta and I was coming up here. I was 26 when I'm 27. It's been a while because it went for a while and now I'm 29. So, hey now, knocking on 30. Okay. A lot of things have happened. Relationships, ups and downs, financial turmoil, financial blessings. Lots of things have changed since then. Me as a person, I've changed since then. So that's why you'll see a different structure and a different approach as far as the topics and conversation that I'm wanting to go to and do with this situation here. I got with a younger guy, didn't work out. Okay. Now I'm back to my roots, which sounds crazy, but I'm with an older guy and it should be great. It's great.
Girl, you crazy.
That's
Girl, you crazy.
Great smile.
So
how you doing?
Well, you know what? So speaking of relationships, as you know, I've had my.
Are you single right now, or are you what's going on?
Am I single? No, I am not single. I am in a relationship.
Okay.
And the good thing about this gentleman is that he actually allowed me to get myself together, whether that was going through bad relationships. He just simply allowed me to grow and learn. And
he was your friend.
He was my friend, and that was the difference. I think that so
Mhm.
often as women,
That's
particularly when
important.
we come from where the woman was the dominant figure, and I'm not making excuses, so hear me out. Let me put that disclaimer out. But so often when you don't grow up with your father, you're seeking love in any and every fashion that you possibly can. With that comes a lot of mistakes. So getting back to my situation, no, I am not single. I am seeing a wonderful, wonderful man,
Okay.
and he's an excellent father. And the good thing about this relationship that there's no pretentiousness.
That is a big thing.
That is a
Look,
big thing for me.
for a
That's a big thing
long
for me.
time,
It's a big thing for
for
me,
a
you guys.
long time, I had relationships. I was in situations with people, and they had their benefits and things that were not beneficial. But those relationships are mostly based on pretensions and making sure that I can put on this
Hey,
air
Karen.
or this character or play this role to make this person feel good and satisfied about themselves, when in reality they are just like me.
It's funny that you say that. On yesterday, I was downtown,
Okay.
and a young lady stated to me, and
What young lady?
I had to put her in her place.
Oh Lord, what happened?
And she stated
Oh
to me,
no.
"Oh well, do you think?
Mm-mm.
Do you think?"
Take it back and tell where did she come from? How did you guys end up in
Okay,
this conversation? Where
so
was the conflict?
okay, so what was going on is I was working a part-time job. For those that know me, I'm a hustler. I might work 3, 4, 5 jobs because that's
This
just who I
woman,
am.
this lady has 3, 4 jobs at one time. She worked on her
Always,
PhD. She
always,
taking flights as a flight attendant,
always.
doing security.
Right. So anyway, I'm working this part-time job. I'm working
Go
this
ahead,
part-time
girl.
job, and so we were checking the people in so they
Okay.
could go to the pool, checking, giving wristbands out, everything. It's a very nice, elite
Wristbands for an apartment building?
apartment complex
Okay.
downtown
I need to get that
area.
exclusive
So make a long
wristband
story
in. Let me
short,
find out.
we would ask them that when they come from the pool to make sure that they had their shoes and shirts on, and a wrap, particularly for the women, particularly because we don't want them to develop to get a cut, or to acquire some type of staphylococcal infection or something of that nature. So the young lady, she gets offended. She got offended.
Offended about what?
She got offended because we asked her to put her shoes on before she would come back into the apartment complex. She was exiting the pool.
Okay.
And she wanted to come back in the apartment complex, walk on carpet, go to the bathroom, and come back. So you're taking all these germs back and forth with you. Okay.
Okay.
So then she proceeds.
Wet carpet can be a problem.
She proceeds to say, "Oh, well, we're paying $3,000 to $4,000 a month." I said, "What does that have to do with anything?" "Well, I have a master's degree." I said, "Well, I'm working on my doctorate." And your point is what?
I'm confused because I don't know.
I said,
I don't understand the escalation from shoes to masters and PhDs.
So let me finish. So what I'm saying is that so often it doesn't matter. We talk about pretentiousness. It doesn't matter about who you think you are or what you think you have, because everything's about perception in the grand scheme of things. It's about perception. My thing is to treat people decently. However, I will say, based on my experiences during my hiatus, and y'all know, y'all know one thing about me. I'm honest. I don't try to pretend like it's one thing and it's something else. I've always been pretty honest. However, getting back to pretentiousness, I don't have to deal with that anymore. I like me. I like seeing the reflection of who I am, and therefore I've become more relatable.
Okay, so what changed from what is it that you realized from then till now that made the pretension not be so important?
Well, you really want to know what happened?
I want to know what happened, girl. What happened, girl?
So, honey, when you're out here and you are trying,
this might get super real. Let's go ahead.
To help other people.
Look at my face.
You're trying to help other people. You're trying to make them, help them realize their dreams, and all the while they could give less than a damn about you.
That happens.
Then you look up and you're still standing by yourself after you've aided and assist. And so you find yourself having to pick up the pieces, whether it be from an emotional stance, a physiological stance, a financial stance. You find yourself in this world standing by yourself. And so with that being said, I realized that, you know what? All the things that I thought were important, check. God removed those things. Oh, money is important? Check that. Because let me tell you something. I was something else. Fancy cars are important. Fancy cars important? Okay, now you're going to go from a fancy car to a beater. Fancy car to a beater, now you're going to build up.
You're going from the beater to the L.
Hey, whatever, right? Whatever. Absolutely. So through this year and a half, all these different changes have come about. And as a result, I realized that, you know what? I can't be nobody else but me.
You can't be nobody else for nobody else. That's the major thing. I
like the way you said that.
Okay.
You taking my role as a poet. You can't be nobody else.
Girl,
but nobody else.
I ain't no poet. I just keep it real. And if, you don't like these words.
Not the fingers, girl. Not the spirit fingers.
Fingers become hands, but we're not going to go there. At the end of the day, now. Okay. No, seriously. You can't be nobody. Pray for me, y'all. I need some help. Pray for it is what it is. Yeah. But you cannot be someone else's savior when you're in search of your own.
And that's what, and that is so correct.
You're making mistakes. You not to say that any one person, nobody, in my opinion, has it figured out. But you have to find yourself first. You have to find what will make yourself be pleased with yourself and happy and content with yourself. And then you may have it figured out for yourself.
And you know what's interesting? It's that
you can help other people.
Now, what's interesting is that I actually had the opportunity to go through that entire process. And so I spent a lot of time in my current role of what I do for a living. I spend a lot of time by myself.
Okay.
And in spending time by myself, flying to different destinations, it gives me so much time to reflect on my conduct, my way of thinking, and also to reflect and respect other people's way of thinking, which was a huge, huge problem for me. And so I'm still working. I've not mastered it. However, I can respect other people, but I also understand that respecting them does not mean that I have to allow them in my space.
That is a definite fact.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you said that, because that gets us back to the original point of the conversation.
Yes.
Which was the mass shootings.
Yes.
These are individuals who, because now I can get I don't know if I want to go there right now. I don't know how much time we have to go. What time is? Let me see. I don't know if we have enough time to go there, and we don't. But
just give a brief synopsis.
So this is, I know it's too much to go into. However, I'm going to give a little snippet of my thoughts. You're speaking of respecting others. Okay. And not respecting others is what got you into a lot of unsavory situations in your personal life. Okay. Because it led you to be selfish. And being selfish, you think about yourself, you don't think about others, and you're not really giving that way, what you need to give to receive the things that it's a balance.
Okay. I'd agree with that.
It's a back and forth.
I can agree with that.
So lots of people have that issue when they're so self-involved and self-absorbed that they cannot see beyond that. So it skews your perspective and putting everyone as an enemy or someone that's against you. So with that level of thinking,
hey, OG,
you let people become your enemy. Even if they're not, they become your enemy. And on a grand scale, these individuals, we're going to get to all this. That's why I just want to, stretch all this. This could be a thing. Okay. These are people who are selfish.
Thank you.
Not mature or introspective or, enough to realize that, hey, honey, you're one of several billion individuals.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct.
To get what you want out of this world, when people can give you what you need, you have to be working with the rest of the 7 billion.
You're absolutely correct.
Or the several thousand or several hundred or several dozens that you may or may not know. That is the idea. Okay. These individuals feel lost, confused, and alone, and they're angry at everybody else but themselves. So the only way I can get what I need to get, which I don't know what the hell they're trying to get, by shooting everybody up or shooting everybody down in a personal one-on-one sense. You got people who are shooting people up physically, literally. Then you have people, you, me, whoever, Bobby, Johnny, whoever.
Absolutely.
Okay. Who are shooting people down individually. Because whatever you're doing is not fitting my needs. Now, you do have a level of, me that you need to think about. Okay. So if you're not working for me or you're working against me, then I need you to move away from me. However, I cannot blame you or attack you or tear you down because you're not doing what I want you to do for me.
Absolutely.
Because you're doing what you need to do for you.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Absolutely.
And these people, these individuals are looking at it on a small scale, in a grand scale, that everyone is against them.
Absolutely.
And when you do that, you only hurt yourself.
You're absolutely correct. I think that it's really unfortunate that so many people are lost. And it's unfortunate that society in so many ways capitalizes off of pain. It really is.
That's true.
It's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
And so I pray a lot.
Okay.
And to each his own. I'm not telling what another person should do, but I do pray a lot. But I also understand that prayer alone is not the resolution. That prayer has to be followed up with an action.
Like I said earlier in the conversation, we can yell and scream and march through the streets and
Absolutely.
this and that, what does that do other than raise attention?
Yes.
That does not ignite or fuel any action.
And it does not change the laws.
And let me tell you why. People like to refer to the boycotts of the bus system in the 60s or whatever. The difference between today, this is my opinion, I could be saying something that's just a bunch of hot water, who knows? But personally, my opinion is the difference with them protesting then and us protesting now, yelling and marching through the streets, is that then they didn't have internet and social media, and there were a few different streams of income for a city or an entity to make. You had taxes, of course. They've been in here for the last couple hundred years. You had taxes, and you had individual entities, which were city services for people in the city. They would spend their money to get to work, to get to their relative entertainment things like that. People boycotting, Black people boycotting in the 60s. It affected the city's pockets. It affected the nation's pockets. Because people were like, hey, they didn't have Uber or everyone didn't have vehicles and Uber, Lyft cars and things like that.
So let me ask you this, because we got to wrap it up. What are your final thoughts? Because I know that we could take this conversation on.
Final thoughts on what? Because we done touched on a lot of things.
Okay. So what are your final thoughts? One, on the mass shootings. I need maybe a 30-second response pertaining to your final thoughts on that.
Well, I have a lot of things to say about the mass shootings, but however, and we can get into that next week. But personally, I think that there are people in this country, because there are shootings and terrorism going on everywhere in the world. But personally, in this country, there are people, there's a specific group of individuals who feels lost, disconnected, and helpless, hopeless.
Okay, and on that note, it's unfortunate.
And they need someone to recognize that and help them. Granted, however, the groups that are connected with these individuals are not mainstream groups. These are internet entities, websites, people who feel the same way, but because of their careers or whatever, they cannot actually go out in the streets and yell it out.
we could, because we got to wrap it up. It's coming to the end. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank each and every one of you that has tuned in on this evening to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. If you're looking for an opportunity to host your own show here at IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. We are back in the building after a year and a half hiatus. We are back in the building Sundays at 8 p.m. Once again, thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.
We will be back. And just remember, we don't catch feelings, we catch flights. Until next time.
Okay.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah. I see you, baby.